Good evening, gentlemen. A warm welcome from the Brethren of Olaf. A warm welcome from the Brethren of St. Olaf to the visiting brethren from the area and from other guests from near and far. This is our first burn supper under the leadership of our new Right Worshipful Master, Mr. Gordon Daly. Some of you may not know Gordon, but he's a cracky lad, a mischievous chap, a lovable rogue.
You dodgy knees.
With Christmas not long past, he reminds me of the modern era of the trend, which is the elf on the shelf. For those who are not aware,
You're not doing that anymore.
For those who are not aware of the elf on the shelf, he's a wee lad who rocks up in December and generally wreaks havoc and causes chaos in your house for 25 days. Here at St. Olaf, we are lucky enough to have Gordon's presents all year round. So he's not exactly our elf on the shelf, more like our dwarf on the north. So on behalf of our Right Worshipful Master and the Brethren of St. Olaf, many thanks to you all for joining us tonight, and I hope you have had an enjoyable evening so far and will continue to do so as the night unfolds. For those who don't know me, my name is Andy Phipps and I am, or was a member of this dear Lodge St. Olaf 1188. So when our Gordon Daly asked me to give the toast to Lassies, I said I'd think about it, but I wasn't sure if I could do it. He then quickly thanked me for agreeing to do it as he scuttled off as fast as we let him take him as he exited the lodge, and here we are. I have to confess that I've only ever attended one formal burn supper and therefore had to go and look up what was expected from the toast to the Lassies. My hopes were immediately dashed when I realised that I had nothing to do with that incredible dog who saves so many children from abandoned mine shafts every year. So right that wrong, please raise your glass to the wonder dog.
It's a lassie.
Following my extensive research, the sources that I came across states that this toast is designed to praise the role of women in the world today. This should be done by selected quotation from Burns' work and should build towards a positive note. This is when I realised that the previous 2 evenings I spent laughing to myself in the dark corner while scrolling through crude and sexist jokes may not have been the most ideal preparation, and therefore I was back to the drawing board. I then sat back and thought to myself, what was it that made this Rabbi Burns lad so special that people worldwide come together to celebrate him every year? My findings show that there were 2 things to which our Baird excelled at. Firstly, the skill that resonates with the ladies is his poetry and grateful way with words. The second and most important, he is highly regarded by men for being a master of seduction with the Lassies and his ingenious way of getting away with it by composing lovey-dovey confessions of his rogue-like ways. The man's nothing short of a genius. Imagine that tactic being used by us in today's world, gentlemen. My darling wife, I have to confess that I've been unfaithful, but please, hear me out through this poem I've written in order to redeem myself and earn your forgiveness. It was a Saturday night whilst I was down in the killie. I seen a beautiful lass and felt a twinge in my willy. I jumped up from my seat and fell to the ground, then landed back to the house where we then fooled around. Instead of being lauded, gentlemen, we'd be left homeless, penniless and divorced. Anyway, upon this newfound knowledge I now have on Mr. Burns and feeling somewhat inspired, I thought to myself, how hard can this poetry malarkey be? So gents, may I ask that you sit back, buckle up, strap yourselves in, as I try my utmost to give this toast a unique St. Olaf spin. Move aside, Rabbi, put that quill down. It's 2025, and Phipps is in town. The toast to the Lassies is a tribute to the women in our lives, whether that be mothers, daughters, girlfriends or wives. For years men have tried and continue to fail to understand women and the traits they entail. The perfect woman is merely a myth, even if she were designed by Hiram Abiff. For centuries men have tried a number of ways to please our lassies for easier days. Centuries have passed and more rights they've obtained, like jumping naked out of a plane, and as they hurtle down to the ground, it's us men that endure that horrible whistling sound. The Me Too movement was a confusing watch, as us men only dream of a woman grabbing our crotch. Gender equality and equal pay are the rights women have fought for all their way. They picked their battles and won their wars, yet they still aren't happy and are needing more. What can we do, I hear you ask? Pleasing a woman is a thankless task. At last, here we have our celebrated bard, who could impregnate a lass through a Valentine's card. His silky smooth lines and well-chosen words were like a magical spell that was cast on the birds. A piece of paper and a stroke of his quill was the female equivalent of the wee blue pill. Surely just words cannot make a lassie undress. There must be more to Ravi's success. Old Ravi did give his secret away when he penciled the words to 9-inch will please a lady. Come on, Rav, give us a break. As I disappointingly look down at my own trouser snake. You're a magician with words and well endowed, while the rest of us can't find it without raking around. It was clear to me that I could not relate how Burns wooed the woman at an alarming rate. But the one thing that stood out loudly and clearly was that Burns considered all his women dearly. You not tend to spend time with quill in hand to write so eloquently about a one-night stand. Burns, though encapsulated by the physical beauty, knew a woman's importance to the larger society. This was clear when Burns wrote, to which I will directly quote. While Europe's eyes is fixed on mighty things, the fate of empires and the fall of kings. Well, while quacks of state must each produce his plan, and even children lisp the rights of man. Amid this mighty fuss, just let me mention, the rights of women merit some attention. Women do far more work, and the stats all show it, that not much has changed and the women all know it. But facts just aren't funny, and this verse is proof, so I'll get back to the gags and skirt round the truth. Ravi's success as women should come as a warning to others, as he fathered 12 children with 4 different mothers. No cost of living crisis or CSA to pay when spreading your seed back in the day. I often do wonder how Burns would be portrayed if he were alive at present living here in the Bay. Sat in the killie giving the barmaid a glance, conspiring the words that might drop her pants. Burns is not one to get drunk and sleepy, but horny and handsy and just plain creepy. His handwritten poems are not worth a damn unless he posted them on TikTok or Instagram. Word would get out about his promiscuous ways, with the headlines published in the P&J, 12 kids and counting, benefits cheat, while poor old Burns hides out in his house down on Main Street. He would struggle for work before being picked up by the Buccaneer, writing articles for locals and events within the community, spending hours writing chapter and verse about someone's dog who was run down by a hearse, or about local youth setting fire to bins, which would not fulfil Burns' creative passion within. No more poems about Bonnie Leslie and her golden locks, but rather Sharon in her pyjamas cruising around the broch. Over time, Burns may see that the modern maidens are wild and free. No more shackles prevented to speak. The lassies now are not mistaken for being weak. They rule countries, companies, and have dreams, whilst rearing children and keep the house clean. They are incredible beings which as men strongly rely for their comfort, support, they're the glint in our eyes. At times we find them hard to understand, but lassies are often the backbone of every great man. So gents, on this note, I would like to ask that you all stand up and raise your glass. For all the women who make us happy, please give a toast to the lassies.
To the lassies.
Cheers, boys.
Excellent.